All right. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Good morning. Welcome. I am Joanna Lee. I am a technical program manager in the Windows team, particularly Core OS and Intelligent Edge. What does that mean? Where we're going to talk a little bit about what our team does. And we're actually super excited to be here today. For the past 3 years, Windows has been working on eSIM. How many of you guys have heard about eSIM? I'm assuming most of you, since you attended this session. But eSIM is something that we have been working on the client side, on the Windows operating system. How many of you knows that eSIM capability has been part of Windows since RS2? So that means the Windows release since spring of 2017. Awesome. I hope because you're not, because our partner, so you know. But so why have you not seen it? The reason is that you need a couple of things in order for it to show up on your device. But beginning RS2, as I mentioned, we have been embedding, in the literal sense of the word, we have been working on eSIM as a capability of Windows. So every Windows update that you would have on your device will have eSIM capability. Now, I'll go through some of the requirements on what you need in order to light it up in your organization. What is it? What are we working on? What are we thinking from the Microsoft side? In particular, I know most of you have heard about the Apple announcement 2 weeks ago about eSIM. In this particular session, Microsoft has been focusing, a lot of efforts have been on enterprise, and we'll talk to you a little bit more about that. Now, most of you, I think, raised your hand when I asked about how many of you knew about eSIM. But really, you know, it's moving away from the physical form factor. Now, if you think about it, what does that have to do with enterprise? So one of the things that we did was we have a tremendous relationship with enterprise customers. So what we did was we have a program called TAP, Technical Adoption Program, wherein we have a couple of enterprise customers that we have deep relationships with. As early as 2015, I mentioned we've been working on this for 3 years now. We had a couple of scenarios. There's one architect on our team. All he did. How many of you are participating in GSMA by any chance? Not many of you. Okay. So just a little bit background. A GSMA is being led by mobile operators, but predominantly they're also trying to help the industry shape what eSIM will be. There are a lot of OEMs, such as Microsoft, and our competitors who have been participating in this standards body. Now, there's one architect on our team, and he really is, you know, devoting his time and effort, understanding the use cases, understanding the technical specifications and whatnot. And then we thought, eSIM, you know, it's not just moving away from the physical form factor. The main thing is that it allows remote SIM provisioning. So we took the use cases that are being discussed in GSMA and thought, hey, you know, there might be an opportunity for us to solve some of the use cases that enterprise customers now have. So just kind of recapping, these are some of the things that you probably have seen supporting eSIM. We'll talk a little bit more about this, particularly the ecosystem partners that we have. And actually, we have some of our partners right here, and I'll let them talk about their participation and what they can do in a second. All right. Our enterprise management solutions. So what did we find out? There is a tremendous amount of budget in enterprise companies that are devoted to device management. How many of you are using SCCM, MDMs right now to manage your devices, right? The one thing that we found, though, that for mobile enterprise companies that are distributing data either for phones or LTE on devices, one thing we found was there was actually one customer that we spoke to. They had 800 fleet managers. All these fleet managers do is literally manage distributing inventory, reporting to a certain extent, but it does not have a capability to push policies to those data that they're distributing. So once they have given that to their organization, to employees, they don't know whether that card is actually being used by that employee or whether that card is being used to a device that was provisioned by the employee, by the organization. And another thing is that mobile subscription and device management are two disjointed efforts. So what we thought was, you know what, if we're trying to do remote SIM provision and we're trying to leverage this technology, what would be the best way to make it easy for an organization to look through this, manage devices, assets, and subscriptions, into one friendly interface? And so this is kind of the goal that we had in mind. How can we streamline those things for the enterprise? And at the same time, we did not want the end user to have any difference in their experience, because that would be yet another thing, another hurdle in terms of adoption. So that's how the idea of leveraging an existing solution that currently enterprise you guys are already using came to being. So we'll talk a little bit about Intune being the first MDM provider that we're working with, and we'll tell you what they can do with that. All right, we have two types of enterprise solutions. For you guys over here, I'm assuming most of you are enterprise customers, the solutions don't really mean anything to you. From your interface, it's pretty much the same. Now, the primary difference is that for the mobile operator, if you're getting your subscription from them, and when I say subscription or profile, I mean the data, the connectivity, the contract that you have with them. When you get that from them, in real-time mode, mobile operators want to know in real time, in the literal sense of the word, the status. Has this been activated? It primarily has to do with billing. Has this been activated? Is this suspended? So on and so forth. The batch mode is really taking what we call eSIM profile metadata. So if you think about a device has device information. Same concept applies. For eSIM, it has profile metadata. The mobile operator will, instead of giving you a physical card, will give you this profile metadata. For a batch mode, all it does, and we'll have a demo in a bit, it will be just needed in a CSV file, upload that easily on Intune. And then as an IT pro, you can see all the profiles, all the eSIM profiles that are available to be assigned to devices. Right now, batch mode is available, and this is one of the reasons why we're super excited, because even if we've been working on this for the past 3 years, this is the first time that we're talking about it because we actually have an ecosystem to support it. Batch mode is available via Intune today. If you guys have Intune, you can actually see eSIM profile management in preview mode. So any one of you who'd want to test it out, see it, we have tech docs as well, where you can find out more about this. Later on, Eric from Intune would talk about the requirements for you guys to enable this, but this is definitely available for you to play around. Real-time mode is something that we're doing in the future. We're currently working with partners, and our partners will come up here on stage with me in a bit. But basically, as I mentioned earlier, the mobile operator needs to know what the status of the profiles are. So what that means is there needs to have a direct relationship between the MDM server, like Intune, for example, and a mobile operator. And so we're going to be talking a little bit about that in a second. Now, I'd want to call on Eric Orman from Intune to do a batch mode demo.
Hello. Thanks, Joanna. I'm Eric Orman. I'm a senior program manager in the Intune engineering team, and I've been working very closely with Joanna and some of her peers who are also here in the attendance on developing this solution to be able to use Intune in order to distribute and provision eSIM devices with a cellular data plan. So I'm going to show you a demo, and again, like she said, it's available today. So I saw a lot of hands that go up. So there's everyone's familiar with Intune, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time going over it. But basically, I'm at the Azure portal. This is where you manage Intune. That's the administrative portal. I have done some pre-created things. I've created an Azure Active Directory security group. And over here, I've got my Windows 10 PC that's running latest build. RS2, the spring 2017 update or newer, again, is recommended. But we always recommend run the latest version, so 1803. Like Joanna said, there are 3 components that are really needed for this demo. The first one is you have to have an Intune subscription. That's pretty same. The second one is you have to have a device. So I've got my device up here, and that device has been enrolled into Intune. It's currently managed with Intune. And the third thing is I have contacted my mobile operator, and I had asked them for some activation code tokens. And these are one-time use tokens, and these are exactly what I'm going to upload into Intune, and Intune will distribute and install those activation code tokens on the device. And so that's my demo today. So let me walk you through that. So I'm here at my Intune management portal. In here, if I go to the device configuration node, there's eSIM cellular profiles that's listed right in there. We came out with this. We launched it in preview in early August. How many of you have seen that in there? Yep, kind of majority of you guys. Great. So if I click on that, it's going to take me to that particular node. And I've already pre-created some things in here, and I'm going to get to that in a second. But I'll call out right up here is this Learn More. That takes you to our technical documentation. So everything, if you want to learn more out there, it's all documented. And even if you guys want to have questions, there's an email address that goes to me and actually goes to Joanna. So if you have questions, you want to follow up or anything, again, we're in preview, so we want to hear feedback. Feel free to use that. So going back to here, and like I said before, kind of the first administrative thing that you need to do is basically have Intune, have your device managed and enrolled, and then what we need to do is contact your mobile operator to get those activation tokens. So you've already done that, and I'm going to walk you through that end-to-end experience. So I'm going to click Add, very basic. It's going to pop out over here where there's a CSV file. I'm going to click on that. Within the CSV file is the activation code token. So out there on our documentation, we detail how to format the CSV file and everything. I'm not going to go into those technical details. Just know you need to contact your mobile operator to get those activation code tokens, and then there's a proper formatting. So I'm going to click Open. Intune, we have actually 2 eSIM activation codes within that file. You can have hundreds. You could have thousands. Just in this example, I have 2. I click OK. Intune is going to go through a check to make sure that they're formatted properly and the CSV file is in its proper format. And so in here, I've got a couple of cellular subscription pools. And so in that one, I had particularly from my mobile operator received one that is a data plan specific to international roaming. So you wouldn't get a CSV file that has a bundled mix of different data plans. In this example, I've got an MCN one up here that's unlimited. That was my unlimited, and I could distribute those to specific devices. And I can create another ones for international roaming, target the same group of devices. I could get other mobile operators and target them to different one. You would create a subscription pool for each unique mobile operator and for each unique data plan. That's very important. You can't mix them. So in here, I'm going to go, after you've created that pool, standard targeting within Intune. I come in here, I'm going to go to Assignments. Within Assignments, you're going to pick your selected groups. And like I said before, I had already pre-created an Azure Active Directory security group, and I had added this PC into that. One thing up here, very key, is you can see that you cannot target users. We recommend that you can use a dynamic group, but that will be kind of difficult. We recommend that you actually create a static device group. So that way you are targeting. These are one-time use activation codes. So if you start targeting a broad use or other things, this will allow you to be very, very explicit in terms of the devices that you're targeting. So in here, I'm picking my standard group, Eric email demo ignite, OK, and save, confirm. That's it. In the back end, what's going to be happening, as you guys all know, this device The Intune managed devices check in with the Intune service at a random scheduled time, every so often, 24 hours, and it's going to ask for a policy. Do you have anything new for me? Do you have any new policy, apps, eSIM policy? And so kind of to hijack that process, I'm actually going to force a sync on this device. And so that's just what's happening on the back end is this device is checking in with Intune, and it's asking if there's anything new. And so if things are all going great right now, it's when it completes that process, this device was the one that was targeted, and it should get a cellular data plan here in a second. While it's doing that, I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and you'll see it pop up in the corner once it does it. But in here, there's no devices targeted because I just created this one. But I'm going to go back to the one that I had before just to, whoops, I'm kind of clicking around a little too fast. So I had this one in here before, and I wanted to just show you. So after you do the assignment, you would come down to device status. And like with the rest of any other Intune monitoring, you would get a list. In this example here, there was only one. That's not all that exciting, but I want to key in on a couple of really interesting points here. So the device that was targeted was this one. I am the user for it. And the ICC ID, that's the unique identifier for the activation token that I received from my mobile operator and Intune delivered and installed on this device. And then this activation status, right here, there's actually two important statuses in here that I want to show you guys. Activation status is the status of Intune delivering that activation code and installing it on the device. Intune is kind of the DHL, FedEx, UPS. You uploaded it, and it delivers down to the device and installs it. After it installs it, Intune's not really involved anymore. That device, it has the instructions from the activation code token, knowing which mobile operator to contact in order to get the rest of its mobile operator profile. And that is the cellular status. And that cellular status is that device communicating with the mobile operator and what it is. This example here, I actually removed the device from that security group, so that's why it says removed. So that's the example of where Intune installed it. And then if you actually remove that device from that security group, or you unenroll the device, that activation code is corporate asset. So, and the thing, Intune is just going to clean it up. It's going to remove it from that device, because when a device becomes unenrolled, you want to remove those corporate assets from those devices, just like if you had other documents or anything. It's a corporate asset. And when it becomes unmanaged, the rightful thing to do is to remove it. So that's how you actually remove a profile from a device, is simply remove it from the security group, or you do an unenrollment or a wipe on the device. Those are remote actions. So let's hop over to kind of a prettier kind of picture. So if I had targeted a whole bunch of devices, they're going to show up in that device node tag or status, and it's going to list them all out there. And there's the activation status, if device hasn't checked in, or if it's pending, or failed for whatever reason. That could be that the activation code was invalid, or you're active, kind of down at the bottom, and it's had an error, profile error. That helps the administrator know that it's active, which means Intune successfully installed it. And what I'm pointing out, some of you guys are looking, let me just zoom in here, is over here where it says active. That means that Intune successfully installed it. But then you notice on the right it said error or profile error. And that lets an administrator know that's the cellular status. Hey, I need to call my mobile operator to figure out what's wrong. Maybe there's something else that's going on. So that's where you get a rich reporting and help to understand, is it something Intune did, something I need to contact my mobile operator. It didn't go. All right. Well, I'm going to go back to Joanna. But anyway, I'll be here afterwards for some questions. But in the meantime, I'm going to turn it back over to Joanna.
All right, thanks, Eric. So I think the main points from what Eric showed you is the ability from the IT pro to be able to assign, manage, as easy as how it is when you're doing the same thing to the devices. Now, we can go to the ecosystem. So we have a bunch of partners, and if you think about it, our team only worked on the OS. So what we wanted to do was to Windows is essentially dealing with a lot of partners, a lot of OEMs, for example, to make sure that things are interoperable. Whatever device OEM that you work with, it will work with you the same way. For us to be able to stand here in front of you today means that we're able to define the ecosystem, and we have ecosystem partners to start with. So let me talk about the ecosystem, and I can actually ask some of our partners who are here to come up on stage. Come on, guys. As we're doing that, and I'll let them talk about what they are providing. It's actually an entire ecosystem, but really it's a complexity that we want to offer the enterprise. It's a lot of work underneath the covers, but from I think what Eric actually demonstrated too is there's actually no difference from you guys. You're doing the same things in MDM. You're just adding essentially eSIM profile, the way that you manage a device right now, but everything else that we're offering to the enterprise has a lot to do with the partners and a lot to do with the work that we're doing together. So let me start with the mobile operator. Hold on a second. I'll let them talk a little bit, but let me get to the devices first. Surface Pro LTE is the first device that had eSIM. So you guys might be familiar, Surface LTE Pro Advanced has been released since last year. It actually has eSIM in it. How many of you guys know that it does have eSIM? Perfect. So it has two SIM cards. One is, it uses a mechanical slot. The other one is a purely embedded slot. I'm going to differentiate it a little bit. Not all LTE devices are eSIM capable. Let's just put that aside. Not everything. These are the ones that are supporting eSIM right now. We are continuously working with OEMs to grow and expand the number of models within their category that would support eSIM. But there are a couple of things that we're working we have co-engineered together in order to make this capable. Now, if you have one of these devices and you're wondering, this has a physical SIM slot, what does that have to do with eSIM? Well, the industry is not quite ready to move and shut down completely that physical SIM slot. However, these devices, while they have the physical form factor, is capable of reading eSIM removable devices, eSIM removable cards. What does that mean? It looks and feels like the physical cards that you have, but it's blank. So there's no operator, nothing like that, and it is capable of doing remote SIM provisioning. So these are the partners that we have in the ecosystem that we were allowed to disclose at this point. We're continuously working with our OEMs, as I mentioned earlier. And now I can probably start with the mobile operators. We have Wade Smith from C-Spire, who can talk a little bit more about that.
Hi, gang. For those of you wondering, C-Spire is the largest privately held wireless operator in the country, and we're thrilled to be here and part of this ecosystem and pleased to be an early adopter of eSIM technology. Let me tell you why. We believe eSIM transforms the competitive landscape for wireless operators. No longer will we compete for your business on the merits of our latest marketing campaign or the friction it takes to switch wireless carriers. In fact, we'll have to earn your business through the strength of our plans and policies, our customer service and engagement, our network speeds and coverage. We recognize that we have to meet you guys where you are. So we're thrilled to deliver the power to you guys, to empower IT professionals with the power of real-time choice, so we can deliver the right plans and prices at the right time. And with that, I'll introduce the Vice President of IDEMIA, Mr. Amir Abulsalan, who will explain to you how wireless operators like C-Spire and others around the world can connect to the eSIM platform.
Thanks, Wade. Hi, everyone. IDEMIA, if you haven't heard of us before, we're a world leader in identity and security technology. We service the industries, everything from government to financial institutions to the telecom industry as well, too. We champion the concept of augmented identity, which is creating a seamless and a convenience experience where security is needed wherever or anywhere, anytime for the customer. We're pretty excited to be partnering with Microsoft and also some of our partners as well too, for example, C-Spire, on solving or bringing enterprise eSIM seamlessly into the ecosystem for Windows overall. The challenges operators and where you're going to see the adoption hasn't been as fast, but now it's significantly picking up, is that the operators have a lot of work to do. They've got to update their legacy billing systems and provisioning platforms as well. They have to have a GSMA certified subscription manager to handle the eSIM download directly onto the device. And then they have to tie all of that together by putting all these vendors, connecting all the systems. And it turns out it's a lot of work to do for the operators. But the good news is there's lots of OEMs out there that are pushing eSIM, and that adoption is increasing dramatically, I would say, every single quarter going forward. We're here today to tell you that we're partnering with Microsoft to solve that problem, to break down those barriers on eSIM integration. And what we do is we have an orchestration platform that handles and manages all of the APIs, the billing system, whatever infrastructure the operator provides us to integrate them and make it quite seamless that connects them into the MDM, for example, like Intune. And with the partnership with Microsoft, it's why we're set up with Intune today and fully capable or compatible with Intune. But we're also working to add more MDMs as well too in the future. Our eSIM orchestration platform also supports any type of operator around the world, which is also a significant advantage in terms of getting the adoption out there significantly increased at a rapid rate. It works with any type of a legacy system going forward. And as a result, what it does is that because it's got all of the provisioning and all of the activation logic built into it automatically, it significantly reduces the time of market and the cost for the operator to be supporting those devices going forward. So we're quite excited on the opportunity, and also with the orchestration platform and that type of technology also supports many other use cases as well too, everything from consumer to IoT devices going forward. So we're looking forward to working with Microsoft, the MDMs that are out there as well too, and all the mobile operators. And really, I think what we're doing is bringing a new area of IT connectivity into the enterprise.
All right. Thank you. So, I mean, you guys have heard a couple of times mobile operators, and I've mentioned a couple of times MDM, IT Pro. What else can it do, right? One of the pain points that we've heard from enterprise customers is that, you know what, I cannot monitor usage. I cannot do anything. Will eSIM just be another version of distributing the card? So we're working with, and I'll introduce these guys in a second, we're working with TAMs, telecom management providers, that allows us as an IT pro, for example, to be able to look through what are the applications, how is this data going to be used, so on and so forth, for each type of eSIM profile that you've actually assigned to the devices. So not only were you able to assign, you can deassign, you can reassign these eSIM profiles easily through an MDM interface. You're also going to be able to see how are you doing in terms of cost through the usage that you have. You can control, let's say, I don't want this employees to be running, let's say, Netflix, using data that the company is providing. So with telco management providers, we have Wandera and Ensusuito. So I'll hand it off to Michael.
Hi, my name is Michael Covington. I'm Vice President of Product with Wandera, and we're really pleased to be part of this collaboration around eSIM with Microsoft and with the broader ecosystem. And for those of you who don't know Wandera, let me kind of come at this problem from a slightly different perspective. We're a leader in mobile security and data management. And what that means, I mean, to put it into context, we've heard throughout this conference thus far that the mobile-enabled enterprise is here. All of you are participating in enterprises that have adopted mobility, but the thing that we hear constantly from customers is that they just don't have visibility into how devices are using mobile data connections. And this is a real problem regardless of whether you're using a physical SIM or an eSIM. And it's a problem that we have been tackling for the last many years with customers in market with a solution today. And what I'm really excited about with this collaboration is that we're now going to be able to take the solution that we have for physical SIMs, map it into eSIMs, but make it so that there's an entire workflow built around how you manage devices, data plans, the connectivity that is assigned to those devices, and all of the personas within the organization that are part of this orchestration and management. And I don't have time to go into detail on all the different aspects of our solution. I'll linger around in the back afterwards if anybody has any questions. But I think just to kind of touch on a couple of different use cases so that you have a little bit of context here. What we provide is deep visibility into how mobile devices use their data connection. And with that visibility, you can apply a whole bunch of different use cases. You can control costs, so you can really kind of allocate users to kind of using certain corporate apps on domestic connections versus roaming connections versus Wi-Fi. You can establish acceptable use policies. You can enforce compliance. And there's a whole bunch of different scenarios that can be enforced when you have that type of deep visibility. What we're looking to do now is bring our integrations with MDM to embrace eSIM as well. So really making it super easy for organizations to provision data plans that they buy from the mobile operator to the right devices and to the right policies, really orchestrating all of that, that management capability. I think with that, I'll turn it back to Joanna, and we can certainly talk more during Q&A. Thanks.
Thank you. So Sweeto is also here. Christian?
Thank you. Thank you. Do you understand when I talk? I'm checking if my French accent is working in Florida. It's working. Good. So I'm Christian Kor, I'm CEO of SaaSWeDo. We thank you for inviting us. LTE PCs and eSIM card is bringing to the table flexibility, efficiency, but also, to your point, Michael, a risk of unexpected cost that, crazy costs that you can have. And this cost already exists on regular devices, iPhone, Androids. Now with LTE PCs, this cost is even double because these guys are eating much more data than the smartphones. For that reason, we, with Microsoft, 2 years ago, integrated our product, Data Alert, into Azure AD and Intune to be able to control that. So what Data Alert does is monitoring data usage in real time on mobile devices and can apply data usage policies that can be centrally designed by the enterprise. So this deep integration allows first an easy rollout and also to be able to apply restrictions on the phone in top of messaging, alerting, and reporting that you can have in real time about data usage all over the world. So it's a global solution. It's working with any country, any carrier. There is no proxy, no VPN. It's direct from the device. And the new thing is that we develop now the Windows 10 clients that make possible to get the exact same level of service that we already have on the mobile devices on LTE PCs. So we will be around to answer your questions and make demos on the Surface booth and Intune. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. So I think for what, I know we're quite a lot, and that's a lot of information. From an enterprise side of things, the only things, and I'm not trying to use only to undermine the work, the requirements, Eric articulated it earlier. The mobile operators we posted earlier, C Spire, KDDI, These are the carriers that we are allowed to disclose at this point. That doesn't mean that we're not working and other carriers are not going to support this at some point. We would recommend that if either you guys have these operators, you're with these operators, or if you have a different carrier, you work with a carrier to get the information on when they would be ready to have this available for you. And then we provided the slew of devices that are available. I think the uber point here is that you have the ability to choose which carrier, which provider that you'd want. The reason why it took us a bunch of time to make this work, not just on the engineering side, is because to make sure that this is interoperable and this will still fit into the needs of the enterprise customer. Now, to segue into that, we invited a customer who we actually ran a pilot with over the summer. And Reed Orr is the CDO of New Signature, or we're going to end with their experience.
I'll try to be quick so that folks have time for questions, but we participated over the summer. It was truly transformative. I think we all see what this vision can be, and the demo is it. I mean, from the perspective of the IT professionals running this, once you've got those codes and you put them into Intune, it just works. You sync the device, it starts getting the plan, and you're off to the races. And we've participated in a number of different technology preview programs over the years. This has, hands down, been the most vocal, positive response we've ever seen from our staff. People were begging to have one of these devices as soon as other people had them in the field. So certainly, even though there are limitations on the total number of operators, and this is a new technology and a limited number of devices using it, once these get into the field, you're going to have a problem on your hands because people are going to want this in a way that they have not for years. So there's a huge pent-up demand there. Again, on the IT professional side, the provisioning process was super seamless. It couldn't have been easier. So it's not something that's going to take 2 to 3 weeks of implementation to even do. It's really just a matter of getting the codes and installing them in Intune and making sure that folks have the devices that support them. And as soon as you do start this process, our minds started to go into different directions. Things like Windows Autopilot that, in the new version allows you to provision a device as long as it's connected to a network. Well, what better way to be connected to a network than using an eSIM device? Just unpack it from the box, turn it on, and it's already pulling the information down. So there's a huge amount of different scenarios that this will enable you to do, balanced with the governance of how much data people are using.
Thank you.
That's it.
All right. So how many of you, just to end this session, how many of you attended the Surface session yesterday? Just one? Okay. There was one portion of the session that kind of, I think, resonates well with customers, which is it's really a device lifecycle. What do you do when you purchase a device from whoever OEM you have? What do you do? Enrollment, all that, policies, blah, blah, blah. Think of this as just adding another capability, but it's still the same lifecycle. It's still part of the enrollment. I mean, that's the reason why we're leveraging an MDM, because we don't want you guys to learn another way to do things. It just completes the loop, if you will. I think that's it. We will have some time, we have some time for Q&A, but just if you wanted to talk to our partners, if you have more questions about their capabilities, if you have more questions for us, we can do demos as well. Some of us will be in the Intune, particularly the co-management and autopilot booth from 2 to 6 today, and we will also be at the Surface booth from 2 to 6 today. So go there if you want to have more detailed discussion, and then just say you want to know more about eSIM. But yeah, questions. I think we have like about 7 minutes for questions if you guys have anything. Yeah.
For these devices that have eSIM, and you want to recycle them or decommission them.
Yep.
So what's the process like?
So it's going to be the same process. So I'm assuming that these devices, the eSIM capable ones, if you have enrolled these devices through Intune, for example, it's going to reset So you can do the wipe or reset. And then with eSIM, actually, it will ask you whether you want to, because resetting a device does not mean you're resetting the eSIM. So it will ask you if you want to reset the eSIM as well.
And what about the ownership? Like, because if I want to donate those laptops, like because we have.
It's the same enrollment process through, yeah, we're not changing any of that, yeah. Any other questions? It is. That's a good question. Yes. It's actually one of the selling points of eSIM, because if you have an embedded SIM or a removable eSIM in that regard, you can download as many as 8 to 10 profiles. By profiles, meaning like plans or subscriptions, if you will, on a chip. It really just boils down to the memory of the profile. But typically, it's an average of 8 to 10 profiles if you want. You can only use one profile, switch it one from the other. You can't, it's not like dual SIM. So you need to conscientiously switch. From an IT perspective, you just need to assign, keep on assigning to that device or to that group, as Eric mentioned earlier. But that's a good point, because for people who are constantly traveling, some are relying on roaming or capping roaming. But let's say you have a North American carrier, you travel often enough to, let's say, Japan. You can have a KDDI profile installed. When you land in Japan, you can switch over to that one. Any other questions? All right, thank you. We'll be at the booths. Thank you.